Good morning, Heidi Foy here with Bullfrog Recruiting. We're doing something entirely new this year. In fact, so new that I'm probably going to say it wrong. So this year, instead of our traditional CNFR coverage, we're going to be talking with coaches. And in fact, we're having coffee with coaches. And this year, that coffee, I have to cheat. That coffee is brought to us by the Copper Cup Coffee Company.
Yes. Thank you for the cup of coffee,
Say
Heidi.
that 3 times fast. I already messed up. Copper Cup Coffee is 2 locations. There's one right up here in the WYO Sports Ranch, which is where we are live streaming from. And there's actually one downtown right by the football field of NC Stadium. So we're super excited to partner with them and to kind of kick our morning off. It is good coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really here for the cream and sugar. So I have to believe that it's also good coffee too. So this morning I have Miss Shelby Winchell. Shelby has been on our platform
since the
beginning.
Since the beginning.
So I don't think we really need, you can tell us about your program, but we've heard about your program. I think what I would like to talk about more is as a coach coming into the CNFR, whether you have 1 contestant or 2 of your kids or however many kids show up, like what is your game plan as a coach when you come in?
A lot of them have been, rodeoing either professionally or amateur rodeos or getting in their good practice. And just, once you get here, I know the biggest thing when I was competing here at the CNFR myself is like continuing that support, and I know I probably do it a little different than most. I'm a little more hands-on, I would say, than some. But, like when they come here their first year, I always make sure that when they break in the stock, after that, like we walk through everything. Yeah. Like here's where the draw is going to be, here's where the restrooms are underneath the tunnel, and that they might
you don't have to go the long way.
Yes,
and
just those, things like of us that have been there so many times that somebody new might not know. And the young man I brought this year, it's his 2nd year here, and he did well. Had really good first 2 rounds, and was going into last night 7th in the average, and just had some tough luck with the calf, and kind of took him out a little bit, but nonetheless.
So is he out of the average?
Yes, ma'am.
Dang it.
Yep, dang it. But nonetheless, we're very proud of him, and he's a good one to represent our school for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So how old is he? What year is he?
He's a sophomore. Yep. So he'll be transferring after this year.
So you're
which
done
makes
with
it hard. Yes, but we're very fortunate that they believed in our program and our process, and they're a good family for sure.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, because you get them for 2 years. And there's some pros and cons to being a junior college, because you have to deal with some of the learning curve of coming into college and coming into college rodeo, but the benefits are that you get to see freshmen and sophomores have success at a young age.
Yeah, and they come in and like I said, I always say, like even in the recruiting process, everybody's looking for talent, right? We all are. But those good kids of, like how do you, treat a waitress in the restaurant, or how do you have, treat your parents when things maybe don't swing your way, those kind of things. And I'm fortunate to have a lot of good kids on my team, and seeing that growth from freshman to sophomore and their development is worth it all for sure.
Well, and I think too, typically when sophomores go on, when they transfer on, I don't know. What would you say the percentage of it is that they stay in your region?
I would say, it's roughly, I'd say about 50-ish, 60% probably stay in our region. But and I think a junior college is a good start, because they get that level of preparation by the time they go to the 4-year with the larger teams, and maybe not necessarily a true structure type of thing, like that one-on-one that the junior college gives you. they have a plan, like they know what they need and that when they go on. So
yeah. So you get, at least you get to watch them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, I've heard a ton of coaches say, well, that's my kid.
Yep.
Once they transfer on, like they're still yours.
Yep.
Like you started them. So they're always going to be like your kid.
Oh yeah. And thankfully, with social media and everything, you can keep up with them and a lot of them, even after they transfer, they mentioned, hey, I came from, NJC and, stuff like that, which is great because that, shines light on our program, even though they went on.
Yeah. So I want to change directions, not a lot, but just a little bit. I think one of the things that, we have a lot of new followers on our platform, parents and student athletes that are, kind of maybe just getting started. I'm interested in your thoughts. I know what your thoughts are on the junior college vibe. My thoughts are very similar. I started at junior college and transferred out. I think that oftentimes you can think, well, if I started at junior college, then I don't have as big of an opportunity to go to that 4-year, whatever the 4-year is. And, I'd love to know your thoughts about that.
I would say, don't discredit the experience and not only the talent growth, but the mental maturity that they get, going to a junior college for the 2 years. And then they're going on because, as we've visited before, our biggest challenge is the concurrent enrollment that they can take in high school. It's fantastic that they're
becoming an issue.
Yeah, it's fantastic that they're taking advantage of it. But if, your son or daughter is graduating with, 20-ish, if, or less or whatever credits, personally, I feel like it would be scary sending your 18-year-old son or daughter into a junior college or into a 4-year where, as a junior, where they're essentially just going to be a number, know, and
now you said something that maybe is going to get overlooked. You're going to send your 18-year-old to a 4-year college as a junior. So they're considered a junior because they've already taken those credits.
They're 60 credits or at least a sophomore. And keep in mind too that to college rodeo, I think this is another concept that gets overlooked, that in college rodeo you get 4 years of regular eligibility. And so, if you come in with, we'll say 30 to make it easy, 30, concurrent enrollment credits, you go into a 4-year, well, you're going to get that bachelor's degree in 3 years. So you've also missed out on a year to college rodeo. Of eligibility as well.
Classes before you were even eligible to rodeo.
Now that being said, I have a lot of student athletes on our team where, if they come in with quite a few concurrent enrollment credits, they use the opportunity of the junior college. Okay, I'm going to get 2, maybe 3 associate's degrees.
Sorry, I want to make sure everything's good. Apparently I'm getting old because I have to hold my phone out here. Not funny.
They're getting 2 or 3 associate's degrees to allow them, then when they go to the 4-year, they have a little bit more of an option and they're not, pigeonholing themselves into one avenue.
So I remember they call them BOCES classes here. I couldn't even tell you what it stands for, but I always thought what a great opportunity, because those are classes that you can take as a senior in high school and not pay for them. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's going to save me money in the long run. Now, in the even longer run, I think that probably getting those classes is maybe more important than that 1 year of eligibility. But at the same time, it's definitely something to keep in mind. Because I didn't realize that it could cost you that year. So if you can, I might have to do some research and read the rule book again. But if you can, and if you know them, but tell us what that breakout is. Like a freshman, your first year of college rodeo is considered having no classes before, or you can have up to a certain number of classes. How does that work?
So you can have as many, if we're talking concurrent enrollment, you can have as many concurrent enrollment credits prior to buying your first National Intercollegiate Rodeo card, like your membership card. You can have as many as you want. However, the gray area that a lot of people don't think about is those grades from those concurrent enrollments count towards your eligibility. So those concurrent enrollments.
So if you take something,
yep, make sure you're at
even
least
though it's
passing
free
it,
and you don't think it's going to matter,
make sure you're at least passing it with the C or better and your accumulated GPA, and that's based on per school. So
Right.
another thing to a lookout for is, say you're getting, so many credits from school A and so many credits from school B, your cumulative GPA it has to be at least a 2.0 from them individually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not together because they're both individual institutions.
I wouldn't even have thought of that.
But that being said, if you have, if you have, say, like a 3.5 from one, and you have say you got in trouble and you only took 2 classes from another institution, but you have like a 1.9, or whatever, and you're going to be ineligible before you even start.
Yeah.
So that's a gray thing that maybe somebody new getting into it, might not be aware of that.
Well,
that
and
those
I've
count.
I've heard of high school students, high school students signing up for a course, and it really wasn't what they expected or wanted, and then they just don't complete it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
get the F
and then
grade
they get
probably.
an F because they don't understand that you've got to withdraw, or maybe the parents didn't, whatever it is, they just do that. And that can, as far as I think you can take classes in the summer to help your eligibility, but
for the cumulative
really
GPA, for the GPA you can.
Okay.
But for the credit part, and especially once you get into college, if somebody gets in a bind and say a semester doesn't go how they plan, you have to be enrolled in the 12 degree seeking credits. So you can't withdraw from one and be in 10. You have to have 12 enrolled in 12 degree seeking credits. But if your GPA needs some help, say once you're in college and your freshman fall doesn't go great, or spring would be a better example. Spring doesn't go great, freshman spring, and you need some help, you can take a summer class, but that counts towards the GPA, not the enrolled in 12.
Gotcha.
That's also a hard stop line there too.
Yeah.
So
so these are like the ins and outs of the national rule book. Where's the best place for parents to go? If they're juniors or seniors or wanting to take those classes and they know they want a college rodeo, we can get a copy of the rule book off of the website, right?
Yes. Yep. You can go to downloads on the website. Another thing that I encourage kids to do, at our institution, the coaches are also the academic advisors of the team. And I always encourage them, don't be afraid to contact me for that academic help, and we can I've done it with, any grade level. They're like, hey, our school offers concurrent enrollment, and we sit down hey, what general area are you thinking? Then we sit down with a degree plan, okay, I would take the Englishes and the history, that way they're not wasted, because on the other hand, everybody sees, it's free or at a extremely discounted rate, and they take 5 histories, and then you're like, well, only one count, type of thing. So it'll kind of navigate that as well for the best outcome for all parties involved.
Perfect. Well, so let's kind of steer out of the weeds. I have a tendency to go steer out of the weeds a little bit. Let's talk about, you already mentioned the one athlete that you have here. Let's talk about your season. If you have, obviously, you're going to be working with the younger athletes, freshmen and sophomore. You already mentioned being, kind of walking them around, showing them the ins and outs of the building. How do you start with a freshman in the fall? Do you kind of have an onboarding process for your freshman students?
A lot of them I know, or at least, see them at the amateur rodeos or, jackpots or whatever, during the summertime. And when they come in, especially in the Central Rocky Mountain region, you come in August, and we usually only have like 2-ish weeks before the first college rodeo, and in the fall, like they're bam, 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 5 in a row.
Yeah. And that's hard. I mean, I remember doing that same thing, and that's hard as a freshman because all of a sudden you're just starting classes, you're missing Thursday, Friday for the first 5 weeks, and then you're playing catch up already.
Yeah. And one of the big things that I've started doing, which I see the advantages, is the first week of school. I mean, like, you know, they can ride and we can rope the sleds and everything, but the first week of school, I really allow them that time to, I call it like, we're going to get your life put together. You know, you're going to buy the school books, get the binders and all that. And then the second Tuesday, like we're rolling, you know, with practice. And I've seen the advantages of that it kind of settles those freshmen a little bit. Because before we'd start, you know, like
first day
3
school,
days. First day we have the meeting, second day of school, you know, we have the practice, and then be like 4 weeks later and they're like, well, I still don't have the binder, and you know, I'm kind of don't really know how to take notes, and I'm like, anyway, so I started doing that, and there's true benefits, and performance wise for freshmen, you know, especially in the fall, my biggest thing is like, which, you know, because we talked, we're very process oriented and not necessarily result oriented, and so it's like them just taking that one run at a time, because as you know, college rodeo is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
So taking that one run, like, you know, you were in a bigger fish in this pond, and now you're a little fish in the bigger pond. So let's just focus on you. Don't compare yourself. Like, just take each run as it comes.
I mean, that comparison thing follows you.
It's a killer
for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. I have these conversations with my daughter who is like, I can't wait to grow up and there's no drama. And I was like, listen, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you
and
this,
you're going to probably be around the same people that you
it's
like.
the same. We just have more tools in our toolbox to deal with that. So
exactly.
Totally get it. Well, I think you've always given us a really great overview of your program. We've learned a lot about junior college. You know, is there anything else that you want to share about your experiences or, you know, the college finals?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be at the college finals 4 times. I didn't make it my freshman year, but and was able to, you know, obtain my goals. As you know, we've said on here, was reserve twice, and then, you know, won the nation as well. And so I've seen from A to Z, you know, in the elements, and we're, you know, thankful that our program has been getting recognized within the community. You know, Creed Fuels is now a team sponsor as well, and they're paid in on the NRA patch program and everything. So we've been really fortunate to have that recognition as well.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad that you remembered to mention them, because I think it's really crucial to make sure that we're giving all of our partners their shout outs. So we're going to come back around to the Copper Cup Coffee Company.
Yes.
That's going to be really hard for you to say all week.
It's going to be your tongue twister all week. Yes, for sure.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Coffee with a Coach. We're going to come back tomorrow morning with another coach. We'll come back at you Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning. If you guys have any questions, or maybe there's a coach that we didn't get for coffee, but maybe we can round them up and ask some questions for you guys. Again, we want to give a shout out to Copper Cup. That's really going to get me all week. Copper Cup Coffee Company, and of course, WYO Sports Ranch. We are up at the Mercantile all week in conjunction with the College National Finals.
It's beautiful up here.
It's amazing. I have joked that I live here during volleyball, travel volleyball, and so now I get to live here, like literally live here
during
this
the
week
CNFR.
too. Yeah, it's good. They have coffee. So if you guys are coming up to the rodeo, make sure you give yourselves enough time to get through this building and then also hit the vendors in the event center, the Ford Wyoming Center. So thank you so much for your time this morning.
Yes,
I appreciate
for
chatting
having me
with you.
I appreciate it.
All right, you guys, we will catch you tomorrow.